Welcome back to the ETF Inspector. It is Saturday, July 5th, around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Not sure what time I'm going to actually put the finishing touches on this and release it, but probably sometime later on this evening. But this is the video for our individual income strategy funds that we cover from YieldMax. I've got GOOY up here covering Google, just as my example, because we will be talking about their distribution guesstimate as well. So we just take a deep dive look at everything going on within the funds to see how we did and how the week coming up looks based off of trading ranges we need the underlying to stay within. I'm also on X at ETF_inspector1 if you just want that heads up that videos are out. Also, you can click subscribe and turn on the notification. I think it's like a bell or something from YouTube to get that heads up as well. So let's take a quick look on Thursday because of the holiday on Friday. Thursday was the last trading day of the week, and AMD and AMDY were the only ones that really had any kind of a down day. The rest was all green as far as these funds are for Amazon, Apple, Meta, Google, Microsoft, and Netflix. So it was a good day. All right, we'll take a look. We'll start off talking about the trades for GOOY and then come up with our estimate, so you can kind of already see they finally had a good one. So the only trades we haven't talked about for them so far are trades that just took place on Thursday, I'm sorry, and that was them closing out their 177.50s that were expiring that day, paying $1.14, and then opening 182.50s for the following week, next Friday, for $1.09. So just about breaking even. Didn't really get anything for their, obviously the other end of their call spread because it was worthless. And then paying a little bit for the other end of the new call spread. So overall, $269,000 loss. But the big picture is throughout this 4-week cycle, and it's basically from closing out a portion of their synthetic back on the 10th, they profited $13,500,000 from trading. All right, so when we look at it, that comes out to $1.25, almost $1.26 per share if we were going based off of just flat out they distribute all the money that they made. That's not going to be the case, so at least I don't think. They tend to try to pay about around the IV, which the updated IV for Google is 35.6%. This was their last distribution annual percentage rate, annual yield. So if we did it based off of that, the 30-day IV of Google multiplied by the closing price of GOOY divided by 13, that comes out to almost 34 cents. But when they actually made a whole lot more than that, they generally are going to pay more. How'd I come up with this guesstimate? So let's say they were doing well every month and just paying us out. We would just take that number, multiply it by 0.9 to be 90% and do that. But we know that they've been paying us based off the IV, even if they're losing money. So at the end of the year, end of the fiscal year, they're going to have paid out 90%. But every single time they pay us when they lost money, that's going to go against that. I came up with a 65-cent guess. Take it for what it's worth. It's anybody's guess. It should be somewhere between 33 cents and $1.25. I think 65 cents is my guess. The previous one was 39, almost 40 cents, but that was on a month where they did not make a decent amount of money. They'll be declaring this coming Wednesday, 4 days from now. There's $134 million worth of assets within the fund. There was an increase this week of 125,000, so there's almost 11 million outstanding shares. The NAV and the trading price are within a couple cents of each other. And going into the new week, we just talked about it from the trades. They've sold calls at 182.50. They are 1.65% out of the money. The second one, when they buy a call, is just the protection in case the stock price soars beyond that. Okay, so that's how we came up with our guess. I think you're gonna be happy with your distribution this coming week from GOOY. All right, from here, let's just start in alphabetical order. AMDY trades this week that we haven't talked about yet came on Tuesday and Wednesday. Doing well. It was a good week for him, right? Made $600,000 on Tuesday and another $600,000 on Wednesday. Closed out things a little bit early, right? On the 1st, they were closing out things expiring on the 3rd for 5 cents, and they sold out to the following week. Then they went ahead on Wednesday and did some more, again paying 2 cents to close their 150s and selling 141s for the following week for 158. They're part of Group C, most recently declared on the 25th of June. Next one is July 23rd, 18 days away. AMD's IV is now at 41.5%. There's $163 million worth of assets in the fund. So it's a net loss as far as people selling out of the fund this past week, 125,000 shares, bringing it down to 20,625,000. The NAV and the closing price were dead on with each other. Synthetic is currently worth $33.5 million. So when this gets closed out before the next declaration, AMDY is going to have a nice distribution. Did we look at, yeah, so the synthetic for GOOY is not really anything. It's worth -1 cent, 75,000. Okay, going into this week, we've got 141s and 144s sold roughly even, not quite. 2.2 and 4.4% out of the money. So we would like AMD to go up, but not past 141. So a couple dollars. Next, AMZY trades on Thursday and Friday of this week, profiting 700,000 and 68,000. What they do? They closed out some 225s for Friday and rolled them to 225s for the following Friday, paying 15 cents, collecting $1.70. That's per share, 100 shares per contract, 6,100 contracts. And then on Thursday, they closed out some 222.50s for 98 cents and sold 227.50s for the 11th at $1.68. So nice. This was the very first trading week for the new cycle, so it's always nice to start off on a win. Amazon, this one's big. We can't wait for the next distribution because this synthetic is worth $50 million or $2.79 a share. Doesn't mean they're going to pay that out. I'm not sure why. I don't know why that's because it was just Group D, right? So I left this highlighted. But I think I updated that. So 59 cents should have been what you received. Let's see if it's, try not to waste too much time here. Go over to Amazon, see if they have the most recent one updated. Yeah, 59 cents. Okay, cool. It is up to date. All right, so you'll be receiving 59 cents per share in your account on Monday, since Friday was a holiday. So we've started over the new cycle. That's why there's 25 days till the next declaration. Look at that. My guess was 60 and it was 59. Gotta like it. 18 million shares after the increase this week. 286 million being managed in the fund. We've got calls at 225 and 227.50. They are 0.7 and 1.8% out of the money. So Amazon basically needs to stay flat all week. The NAV and the closing price were within 2 cents of each other. Okay, go to Apple and APLY. Trades on Monday and Tuesday only, taking losses both days, 800 and 400,000, a little more than that on each. So they were closing out trades that went against them. That's why they're paying $5 a share, $4.84 a share, and then $4.82, and selling new ones out to the following week, higher up, rolling them up and out, only collecting $1.56 and $1.02. So that's the reason for your loss. And then the rest on Thursday, same thing, closing out, paying $4.39 and $4.42, and only collecting $1.40 and $1.35, selling next week's 2.15s and 2.10s. Might as well roll to that part first, right? Did I say 2.10s? 2.15s and 215s. Okay, these are the 215 sales. These are the 212.50s. All right. They are in the money already, almost 0.5%, and the further ones out, about almost twice as much, not quite, are 0.68%. So Apple actually needs to go down. What are we talking? About $1 in order to win that trade. You've got the 26.95 cents, 26.95 cents was announced this past week. That'll be in your account on Monday based on how many shares you have. Next declaration is 25 days away again. My guess was 28. It was roughly 27, so I was off by just over a penny. Synthetic's worth almost $9.5 million, or 90 cents per share. 136 million being managed in the fund, and 10.5 million outstanding shares after this week's increase. Next, we'll look at FBY for Meta. 2 winning days trades on Wednesday and Thursday. So they closed some 735s for 85 cents, some 732.50s for 41 cents, and they sold 730s for next week, and 735s collecting $6 and almost $6 a share. So that was worth $570,000. Then on Thursday, let's see, they closed out some 732.50s, 2 sets of them there for 41 and 9 cents. Great timing on that one. And sold 735s for the following week, collecting almost $6 and a little over $5. So another $373,000. So a nice trading week for FBY. Those positions now, 730, 732.50, and 735, are 1.5, 1.8, and 2.2% out of the money. So Meta's at 719. We needed to stay below 730. So we could afford a $10 increase over the week just to get a little bit more value. Their synthetic is July 18th, so it's coming up close. It could get closed before the next declaration, but it doesn't have to be. It expires 2 days after. But it is worth almost $15 million when they do cash it out. Again, that doesn't all go to us. Some of it's got to get put right back to work to create the new synthetic, but it will end up helping the distribution nicely. 176 million assets under management, 10.5 million outstanding shares after this week's increase of 100,000. The NAV and the closing price of the fund are within 3 cents of each other. And that's about all we need to talk about on them. We already talked about GOOY because they were first. If you've got Group A YieldMax funds, you're getting paid this, or you're going to get your declaration on Wednesday and your payday on Friday. Next is MSFO for Microsoft. Only traded on one day this week, Wednesday, and it was a winning day, 416,000. They closed out their 500s, 502.50s, and 500s, paying 13 cents, 21 cents, and 15 cents. And they sold 500s again for next week, 500 and 497.50, collecting 228, 234. They actually got more for the 500s than they got for the 497s, and $1.60. That one wasn't great, but $416,000 profit. Microsoft, part of Group C. Previous declaration was on June 25th. Next one is on July 23rd, 18 days away. A lot of these funds I haven't gone through individually, but their IV went up a little bit, so that's nice. That's going to help increase what your payments are going to be. The NAV and the closing price were dead on with each other. Only 7.2 million outstanding shares after the 75,000 share increase this week. Almost 129 million being managed in the fund. The synthetic is a July 18th 435 with the stock at 498. That's worth over 16 million, or $2.32 a share. And the options that we have sold out for this coming week are evenly split. It's 1,300 contracts apiece at 0.27. Oh, I messed up my coloring. That's 0.27% in the money and 0.23% out of the money. So we could afford for this to drop about 0.25% throughout the week. Any kind of upside is going to make us lose these trades. All right, and finally, oh, did we talk about MSFOs? Yep. Finally, we'll look at Netflix. They had a more active week. They traded on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, taking a big loss on Monday. Closed out their 1320s, paying $24+ a share. Their 1310s paying $24 a share, and the 1320s 24. So that was absolutely brutal. They went out to the following week, 1365s, 1355s, and 1360s, getting $4.50, $11.26, and $11 a share. So that was a $1.6 million loss overall. Again, I don't talk about the call it the insurance policies. They're the protections when they buy a call out further and then sell it when it's over. On Tuesday, they closed out 1360. So let's see, what did we sell? 1365, 1350. So they sold these 1360s for the same week. So they took a chance on that one, sold them for $4.52, and then they bought them the very next day for 33 cents. Great move on that one. What's that little one come to? 227,000 they collected, and then they closed it for 16. So they made a quick 211,000 just on that little move. Thank you for that. They sold 1332 50s and 1337 50s out for the following week. Now they got everything out. And then they did a little bit more work closing out 1365s that are for the following week and selling 1337 50s. So they took another win on that one, paying $1.53, collecting $3.88. So $86,000 profit. NFLY, also part of Group C, seems to be the popular one. 30-day IV is 42.7%. NFLY closed at 1873. The NAV's 1870. That's basically just what everything's worth. You just total it up, divided by the shares. It's almost 170 million outstanding, or 170 million net assets, with a small decrease, just over 9 million outstanding shares. Their synthetic is worth nice amount of money too. It's a July 18th, 1140, with the stock at almost 1,300. That's worth 21 million or $2.34 per share. And it will get closed out prior to the next declaration, so we should get a nice distribution on our next NFLY week, and that'll be a couple weeks from now. All right, they've only got 87 contracts at this lowest strike price, 13.25. They're 2.1% out of the money. Then you got 1332 50s, 1337 50s, and 1355s, roughly evenly split, 400 and something contracts apiece, 2.7, 3.1, and 4.4% out of the money. All right, that's all I've got for you for the week. So now you know where everything needs to trade, and got an estimate on what you're going to get if you've got holdings of GOOY. Tell me what you think. If you think they're going to pay out more than that, less, who knows, right? I went through and looked at previous distributions. I'm actually on Amazon here, but I went to GOOY and just looked, right? 39s, 34s, 37s, 32s. But then, hey, there's a 60-something. 20s, 30s, 20s, 30s, almost 50. High 60s, mid 60s. I said, okay, doesn't seem like they're paying real high over that, but since they made a decent amount of money, let's give them a nice distribution, because it seems like they've been liking to hit some high numbers lately when they can. But, all right, if anything else, if you guys are into ALTI or LFGY, the video for that week look ahead and distribution guesstimate is out. And if you're interested just to see how I traded personally this past week, that video is also available. All right, I got a dad joke of the day. So before I do, thanks for watching. Thanks for all you do. I get updates. It tells me how many people shared and liked and everything like that. So I appreciate it. So that being said, dad joke of the day. What do you call a bee that never made it into the hive? A wannabe. That one's not great. I give it a C. All right, go back to enjoying your weekend, and I will talk to you on Monday after trades.